He tried out for a radio host numerous times but failed. Eventually, in frustration, he picked anyone to marry. He stumbled into marriage. Now with his dad collapsing during house expansion, the construction burden falls on him. As for divorce, a heart-wrenching matter, he never brought it up with Shengming and instead found himself back at his nostalgia-filled. The wall bore the marks of growth, and the sink still held his childhood footprints. Gazing at those marks, Shine began to explain to Shengming. "When I was 6, I used to stomp around on this, crying my eyes out," he shared, reminiscing. Shine gazed nostalgically, thinking it would be a shame to tear the place down, but his shy personality held him back. Ultimately, too awkward to speak, he returned to see Shengming pitch the new plan passionately, leaving Shine with discomfort. But he couldn't interrupt. During lunch, Shengming relentlessly peddled the plan, and Shine finally had to chime. "This plan feels unfamiliar," Shine mentioned, but Shengming didn't quite catch his drift. However, it sparked the assistant's curiosity, who asked how Shine and Shing. The question instantly jogged Chen Feng's memory, causing a smile to involuntarily stretch across his face, recalling a moment in an architecture class. Being a music major, he decided to audit that architecture class. The teacher assigned a particularly odd task to map out the route from school. Since it was their first meeting, once he had finished drawing, the teacher inquisitively approached him with a question, giving rise to an absolutely hilarious moment filled with comical ambience. Shengming witnessed it all, as he also lived in the same area and took the same bus every day. After class, the teacher assigned a unique project. The task required students to photograph nearby buildings and truly appreciate them. This task, seemingly simple, left Shine frowning on her way home. At that moment, she faintly noticed a classmate trailing her. It was a sunny weekend, and Shine went to the park for inspiration. That familiar figure reappeared once more, and it was only at that moment she fully realized he was indeed a local regular celebrity. Shine called on Shengming for help, asking him to be her guide. They ventured into the winding alleyways, going to an old, weathered house came into view. Upon learning nobody was home, Shine mustered her courage and ventured inside. However, Shengming appeared frightened, as if his feet were glued to the ground. This house looked ancient and rustic. Shine sensed the assignment had a potential lead, so she sat down and suggested to the rather bashful Shengming that they work on future projects. Although Shengming claimed unfairness, inside he was overjoyed. Yet, once in, he remained stiffly awkward. Shine teased him, and then I said, "I'm letting go." "Letting go?" "Sure. Just let it go," he retorted. "You keep saying let go, and now I really don't want to let go." "Let go, then." With unfinished assignment, they visited the old house often. Shine tidied the room and invited Shengming to plant flowers. They turned it into their inspo base, and as time passed, Shine learned more of Shengming's secrets. His father passed away early just like her own. Bonding over their shared experiences, to soothe Shengming's wounded heart, Shine decided to share her favorite song with him. "But wait, whose song is this? You haven't heard? Then? Oh, it's Memory Eczema. Isn't the song wonderful? Look at your sad eyes. They really are tugging deeply at my heart. Talk about heartache." Back to reality, Shengming felt something stirring within him. Remembering intimate moments, she finally understood Shine's alienation and switched the rebuild to renovation. At last, Shine nodded enthusiastically. Things were progressing. She bought a fancy tie out of joy. The next day, dressed to impress, she planned to give it a dinner, but surprisingly found Shengming there. Realizing their close relationship, Shine quietly put away the gift and subtly inquired about Shengming's love life. When interrupted by call, she left, discreetly asking the assistant about his too. From the assistant, she learned the shocking news: they'd marry. Just as she felt relief, she was blindsided by a backlash from Shengming's fiancé after almost presenting that tie. "So, you had a girlfriend back at school? Do you know who she is?" "I'm pretty curious." She wouldn't say, but mentioned she was from your year. "Who could it be?" "Someone I know." "No? Who?" "Spill the details, I'm curious." "Yes, spill it." She said she was from Shanghai, and just like that, what was a pleasant dinner fell into an awkward silence. But the project began to wobble ahead. During construction, Shine suddenly had a bright idea. She wanted to build a tiny house on the rooftop, but when she pitched this idea, Shengming shot it down without hesitation. That's when Shine realized he wasn't the pushover she thought he was. Left with no choice, they dropped it. During a break, Shine mustered courage to ask her lingering heartfelt question. "Why didn't you come when it snowed?" Seeing her reluctance, he asked about the other fiancé. "So, was it me who was referred to as Shewing Nine?" "What?" Watching her, Shine felt a little giddy inside. But her happiness was short-lived. Shengming eventually pieced together the divorce situation. At dinner, he expressed confusion over why her husband had yet to show up for such a huge event as building a house. Thanks to his keen insight on life, he deduced that those two had probably already taken different paths. Turns out, Shine and her husband had no emotional foundation. Their marriage had long seemed distant and detached. To secure her position during asset division, she had been toughing it out. But just last month, she finally made the decision to end the marriage. However, upon hearing that his daughter encountered a midlife marriage mess, her father was deeply concerned and fell ill. Speaking of this, Shine felt overwhelmed with guilt, thinking she had brought this upon herself. As she spoke, Shine lost control. Alcohol made her defenses crumble.